Hi, hello everyone. Thanks for clicking in again. This week we're going to be hitting the topic of grey listing. Very topical at the moment in most of the news and news articles that's going around in the public. So yeah, without further ado, we're going to get cracking. As always, I'm Andrea from Wealth Associates, chatting to Moritz, who's a director at Wealth Associates. And yeah, Mo, fill us in. I mean, what's up with the grey listing? What is it? And I know that most people are aware of the credit downgrade that happened a few years ago. So is it as big a matter that we should worry about from a macro and micro point of view? And yeah, just give us a brief history and what it's all about.
Yeah, thanks, Andrea. So the biggest thing with the grey listing, it's not as impactful as the credit downgrade. I know we've got that on our list to cover as well, so we won't go into detail there for now. But the impact of grey listing is more important around the principle and potential future of what could happen if we don't fix it, rather than the immediate changes that occurred in the market. And essentially, what happened was we were grey listed on the Friday, and by that time already the market had already pretty much priced in that it would happen. Taking one step back, the grey listing is essentially a common term referred to as jurisdictions under increased monitoring. It came about from an organization called the Financial Action Task Force, which is essentially, in simple terms, a global money laundering and terrorist financing watchdog. So what they do is really important because obviously as citizens and investors in South Africa, we don't want money laundering and terrorist financing to happen within our jurisdiction. So unfortunately, we've joined the likes of the Cayman Islands, Nigeria, Panama, Syria, which is also on the list, and it's not really a list that you want to be on. The impact of it, it has impacted the rand slightly, but markets have gone on unawares. It hasn't really impacted the bond market either. And if in essence, what grey listing is essentially that, and the process in terms of what it will do is it will require that we undergo additional compliance measures in pretty much anything we do from a financial point of view. I think that answered the question.
So when you say we, you're obviously referring to financial institutions.
Financial institutions, accountable persons, even direct investors. So, the buying and selling of property, taking money offshore, anything like that, there's probably going to be additional compliance requirements with regards to KYC, which is know your client, FICA. There will be additional reporting measures required at banks, at financial institutions, and for financial advisors as well.
So basically, I should report those bags of cash clients keep giving me.
Pretty much. You shouldn't be dealing with those clients.
On a serious note, though, for the man on the street, this basically just means that there's going to be a few more hurdles they need to jump through when transacting, especially on a bigger transaction. But other than that, it really doesn't affect the day-to-day running of their lives.
Yeah, for now. And the reason why it hasn't been as impactful as it could have from a negative point of view is that it was noted already in June 2021 through an evaluation report from FATF that there was sort of 67 areas which were going to lead us into grey listing. And by the time we were grey listed, we'd already dealt with 52 of them. So we've got until January 2025 to address the remaining 15 areas. The institutions that are responsible for that have already committed to it, and there's no reason why we shouldn't. So we could be off as early as 2024, or it could take until 2025, and I see no reason why that wouldn't happen at this point.
So that actually leads into the question I was going to ask. If we are then compliant before then, are we removed from the grey list before 2025, or is 2025 our next review?
No. So if we can prove compliance, then we would be removed.
Okay. Which would obviously be a net positive for everyone.
Yeah, definitely.
And then we'd have the measures in place. So going forward, the risk of being grey listed again, obviously minimal.
It should be, yes.
Do you know of any examples of countries that have come off the grey list recently?
Not off by hand, but it has happened in the past. So there have been countries that have gone on, have addressed these areas, and have gone off. There's obviously countries that have gone on, have done nothing about it, and are still there, which the examples I mentioned earlier are some of them. Yeah.
Okay, great. So basically everyone can breathe a sigh of relief that the investments are safe. There won't be any market collapse because of it. And if anything, any new entrants will just be vetted in a much better and safer way.
Yeah, I think in conclusion, there's two important things to note from an investment point of view. Is don't make any knee-jerk decisions, whether it's the grey listing or the impact of electrical growth, things like that. Most of our investment market is actually global. So the things that impact us are actually more a macro in nature outside of South Africa in the investment market and even the bond market. It is good to diversify. It is good to have money offshore. But obviously you need to get proper advice in doing that. Diversification is critical to any planning, but don't make decisions just because you don't fully understand the implications and the circumstances. And I think that's the whole point of financial education. Yeah. So thanks, Andrea.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And I think I, for one, am definitely reassured.